So chapter 4, finding flow in everything you do. How to turn work and free time into spaces for growth. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle, going with the flow. Imagine you are skiing down one of your favorite slopes. Powdery snow flies up on both sides of you like white sand. Conditions are perfect. You are entirely focused on skiing as well as you can. You know exactly how to move at each moment. There is no future, no past. There is only the present. I repeat this line, it's a very powerful line. There is no future, no past. There is only the present. You feel the snow, your skis, your body, and your consciousness united as a single entity. You are completely immersed in the experience, not thinking about or distracted by anything else. Your ego dissolves and you become part of what you are doing. This is the kind of experience Bruce Lee described with his famous "Be water, my friend." We've all felt our sense of time vanish when we lose ourselves in an activity we enjoy. We start cooking, and before we know it, several hours have passed. We spend an afternoon with a book and forget about the world going by until we notice the sunset and realize we haven't eaten dinner. We go surfing and don't realize how many hours we have spent in the water until the next day when our muscles ache. The opposites can also happen. When we have to complete a task we don't want to do, every minute feels like a lifetime, and we can't stop looking at our watch. As the quip attributed to Einstein goes, put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute. This is relativity. The funny thing is that someone else might really enjoy the same task, but we want to finish as quickly as possible. What makes us enjoy doing something so much that we forget about whatever worries we might have while we do it when we are happiest? These questions can help us to discover our Ikigai. These days you also see a lot of children with their gadgets, an iPad or a TV or whatever gadget they have. And when they're watching their favorite cartoons, you call out their name one time, two time, three time. Probably the third or the fourth time they listen to it. So that is pure consciousness at play. So if you are in that zone, nothing, you're so immersed. That is why, because wo bachcho ke case mein, the cartoon, whatever they are watching should be checked, because that is directly going and registering in their subconscious mind. There is so much of focused attention. That is consciousness at play. बच्चों में clearly and evidently दिखता है. And even as adults, when you talk about something which you really enjoy, it can be anything. चाहे आप वो कोई series देख रहे हो, या you're watching a favorite channel, or you're listening to your, some podcast, or you're reading a very interesting book. You are so inside in at, and in that time, there is no thought in your mind. No thought of the past, no thought of the future. You are in the present, in the now, fully focused and aware in one single thing. not a variety of things. That is the power of now. Because उस टाइम पे हमने अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस, अपनी अवेयरनेस, अपनी अटेंशन उस एक चीज में रखी हुई है. And then there are no thoughts coming. Even if that thought is popping up in the mind, it is automatically being desensitized. ये बाद में अभी तो मैं ये कर रहा हूँ. So it's like, popsicle pops up and shunned away, pops up and shunned away, because you're so focused, you're so in the now that your mind does not want to wander away from that and only wants to concentrate on that particular single thing, and that is in the now. But whereas जब हम routine में उस अलग होते हैं या normal कुछ भी कर रहे होते हैं, we are always shifting our consciousness either in the past or in the future. Pendulum चल रहा होता है, कभी past में जा रहा है, कभी future में जा रहा है, कभी past में जा रहा है, कभी future में जा रहा है. उसको still करके, not the right simile, but yeah, pendulum should always be ticking. But yeah, concentrate that it should be in the center. The more you have your consciousness, your awareness in the present, in the now, the more you will be enjoying that experience, the more clarity, the more focused you will get at whatever you're doing. Be it cooking food, reading a book, working on a presentation, working on a project, anything you do, concentrated effort जब आता है in the now, आप हर चीज भूल जाते हो, and you make sure that there are no distractions to dissuade you from whatever is it that you're doing. The power of flow. These questions are also at the heart of physiologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's research into the experience of being completely immersed in what we are doing. Csikszentmihalyi called this state flow and described it as the pleasure, delight, creativity, and process when we are completely immersed in life. There is no magic recipe for finding happiness, for living according to your IKIGAI, but one key ingredient is the ability to reach this state of flow, and through this state to have an optimal experience. In order to achieve this optimal experience, we have to focus on increasing the time we spend on activities that bring us to this state of flow, rather than allowing ourselves to get caught up in activities that offer immediate pleasure, like eating too much, abusing drugs or alcohol, or stuffing ourselves with chocolate in front of the TV. As Csikszentmihalyi asserts in his book, Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, flow is the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that the people will do it even at a great cost for the sheer sake of doing it. It is not only creative professionals who require this high doses of concentration that promote flow. Most athletes, chess players, and engineers also spend much of their time on activities that bring them to this state. According to Csikszentmihalyi research, a chess player feels the same way upon entering a state of flow as a mathematician working on a formula or a surgeon performing an operation. A professor of psychology, Csikszentmihalyi, analyzed from people around the world and discovered that flow is the same among individuals of all ages and cultures. In New York and Okinawa, we all reach a state of flow in the same way. But what happens to our mind when we are in that state? When we flow, we are focused on a concrete task without any distractions. Our mind is in order. The opposite occurs when we try to do something while our mind is on other things. If you often find yourself losing focus while working on something you consider important, there are several strategies you can employ to increase your chance of achieving flow. The 7 conditions for achieving flow. According to research, Owen Schneer of some university, the requirements for achieving flow are: number 1, knowing what to do; number 2, knowing how to do it; number 3, knowing how well you're doing; number 4, knowing where to go, where navigation is involved; perceiving significant challenges, perceiving significant skills, being free from distractions. So it's very important to be in the flow. It's said a lot of times, like they said, Bruce Lee, be like water, flow like water. So it's like you should be in that liquid state where you have that capacity to, just flow like a liquid, flow like a water into a situation. And in this, they are particularly talking about a situation or an event which is related to, pursuing your ikigai, something which you are good at, what you love, and the world needs, and you are paid for that. So when you are in that flow, होता नहीं है कभी कभार एक moment ऐसा आता है, for example, if you are concentrate yourself on doing something, probably writing something or typing something or making a presentation, and sabse pehle, for me, I generally put my phone on silent or switch it off for some time, call divert laga do, for that I don't want any disturbance for 1 hour. And when you're in it, you can just flow into the depth of the entire thing that you're trying to do, and then you feel so good about yourself. Yaar, aaj maine bahut अच्छा काम किया. What is that? That is flow. Because that got your undivided attention, with your mind not wandering here and there, and you were just in that flow, knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, knowing how well you are doing, knowing where to go, perceiving significant challenges, perceiving significant skills, and last but not the least, being free from all the distractions. So there are a few strategies which have been proposed. I think there are 3 or 4 of achieving this flow. So strategy number 1, choose a difficult task, but not too difficult. Schaffer's model encourages us to take on tasks that we have a chance of completing, but that are slightly outside our comfort zone. Every task, sport, or job has a set of rules, and we need a set of skills to follow them. If the rules for completing a task or achieving a purpose are too basic relative to our skill set, we will likely get bored. Activities that are too easy lead to apathy. If, on the other hand, we assign ourselves a task that is too difficult, we won't have the skills to complete it and will almost certainly give up and feel frustrated to boot. The ideal is to find a middle path, something aligned with our abilities, but just a bit of a stretch. So we experience it as a challenge. This is what Ernest Hemingway meant when he said, "Sometimes I write better than I can." We want to see challenges through to the end because we enjoy the feeling of pushing ourselves. Bertrand Russell expressed a similar idea when he said, to be able to concentrate for a considerable amount of time is essential to difficult achievement. If you are a graphic designer, learn a new software program for your next project. If you're a programmer, use your new programming language. If you're a dancer, try to incorporate into your next routine a movement that has seemed impossible for years. Add a little something extra, something that takes you out of your comfort zone. Even doing something as simple as reading means following certain rules, having certain abilities and knowledge. If we set out to read a book on quantum mechanics for specialists in physics without being specialists in physics ourselves, we probably give up after a few minutes. On the other end of the spectrum, if we already know everything a book has to tell us, we'll get bored right away. However, if the book is appropriate to our knowledge and abilities and builds on what we already know, we'll immerse ourselves in our reading and time will flow. The pleasure and satisfaction are evidence that we are in tune with our Ikigai. So easy is boredom, challenging is flow, and beyond your abilities is anxiety. So we stop the book here. This thing is very interesting. The strategy one of choosing a difficult task. I want to share one of my examples. I have been an avid reader for quite a long time. But yeah, there was this gap of good 7-9 years where I was not into reading. मतलब साल में एक book या दो book पढ़ ली तो बहुत बड़ी चीज कर ली. To keep buying books, अच्छी book लगी ले ली, पढ़नी भी शुरू कर दी. 30 pages, 40 pages, 50 pages max, I'm out. That book is there and in the shelf. So 2019, when I started reading again, I got onto it, and yes, I was getting it all back. So I was reading at least 1 or 2 books a month. That's how I started. So I was doing 20-30 pages every day, and I was really enjoying that flow. But एक mind में ना एक limitation थी कि I cannot go more than a 200 or a 250 page book. कि इससे ज्यादा नहीं मैं पढ़ सकता. मोटी, you see that fat book and you're like, मैं नहीं पढ़ सकता, like that. So I don't know, it was somewhere in 2021, somebody told me about this book on by Osho called Krishna, the Man and His Philosophy. Anybody wants to know about Krishna consciousness should read that book. One of the best books available on Krishna. I'm not saying Bhagavad Gita, but on Krishna and his philosophies of Krishna consciousness. So that's a 700-page book. मैंने मंगवा ली, आ गई, very happy. 700 pages की book आ गई. That book remained on my bookshelf for good 1.5 months. I did not have the courage to start that book. And I don't know what happened to me. One fine day, I said nothing doing. जो मैं बुक पढ़ रहा था मैंने बंद की. मैंने कहा नहीं, अब तो मुझे वो 700 पेजेस ही पढ़ने हैं. It took me 24 days to finish that book. 697 pages to be precise. 24 दिन लगे 700 पेज पढ़ने को. बट उस दिन के बाद मुझे कभी बुक के पेज से को टेरर नहीं हुआ. चाहे वो 200 पेज की है, 100 पेज की है, 400 पेज की है, 300 पेज की है. I have a book gifted by Hema, Osho's Book of Secrets. That's 1300 pages. But that challenge 700 ने खत्म कर दिया कि the number of pages will not matter. If you want, you can do it. So, so start taking small challenges, upgrade yourself. So मैंने भी 200 पेज से 300 पेज किया, 300 से सीधा जंप मारी 700 पेज. No, I have not started. I did start that 1100, but somehow kuch hua nahi, so I closed it at about 100 pages only. But I know I'm going to get to it when that is the right time. But then number of pages now have no consideration. So if it's a 200, 300, 500, 700, 1000 page, मेरे को नहीं होता. So that's the challenge, taken by me, and then I was able to get that. I would not say a fear, but yeah, it was something which scared me. कि नहीं यार इतनी मोटी मैं नहीं पढ़ सकता. जो उसने अभी चैप्टर में एक्सप्लेन किया कि इफ इट्स टू इजी इट गेट्स टू बोरिंग, एंड इफ इट्स टू डिफिकल्ट you'll start getting anxious. But if it's in the middle and it's challenging, that is where the flow is. We generally in life somehow are always looking at the extremes. So either we want to be fully into one thing, totally detached from the other. लाइफ हम इतनी एक्सट्रीम्स में लेके जाते हैं, बिकॉज एक्सट्रीम से क्या हो रहा है, एक्सट्रीम से आपको एक प्लेजर मिल रहा है. वो प्लेजर क्या है? दैट इज अ प्लेजर ऑफ ईगो, बिकॉज ईगो डिमांड्स अटेंशन. जब हम किसी भी एक्सट्रीम में जाते हैं, इट कैन बी इन एनी साइड, दैट इज गोइंग टू गिव यू दैट थ्रिल, and that is going to give you that ego massage which is craving the attention. But life works best when is in the balance, in the middle, slightly challenging, but not in gripping you with this thing and you get anxious, and not so easy that you get so bored. So it should be that flow where you are growing constantly, slowly and steadily, and remaining in the middle, at balance, at ease.